Hello, hello. I want to find people to talk to about metaphysics and philosophy. And it seems like I can't find anyone. People aren't interested in it. I don't know why that is. Why is that? Why are you not interested in metaphysics and philosophy? What's going on? There's so much to explore, so much to find out. I can't talk to anyone. They're all afraid. They're all afraid of the unknown, and they're afraid that it might void their religion that they identify themselves with. That's They made their religion into their identity, and their religion has nothing to do with them at all. It's a man-made, literally, a man-made construction, a mental idea construction. It's something to control others with and to suppress other people with and to create fear, to unempower people. Yet, most people identify themselves with the religion. I was talking to my husband last night about why women come back to abusive husbands. It's running on the same level as people adhering to religions that are actually abusive to them. Why people would first free themselves from the religion and then later on go back to it. Why is that? The stuff I see in the world is so incredibly sad. The mental enslavement and the unempowerment. And the very people who are unempowered, they bully other people who are different, think for themselves maybe. People will say, I'm not religious, I just read the Bible. It's like, uh, the Bible is religious? It's like mega religious, okay? So, yeah, and it's written by men who try to just get control over the public. That's all it is. Somewhere around the year, I don't know, 600 or something. And later on, again, was changed and was made to fit a certain agenda of the rulers and dictators and so on. And they had full control over the church that evolved out of this, and full control over the Catholic Church and the Lutheran Church and Lutheran Evangelical Church. All those things that came out of that, these no good unempowerment religions that came out of that, and at least the Medici popes around 1500, at least they got something going for themselves. So, and of course didn't take very long until they were overturned by the Lutheran movement. And Martin Luther, who was actually a terrorist, a terrorizer. And then it gets completely twisted, everything, and twisted around, and the bad guys will be worshipped. I mean, it's. I don't even know where to start with all of this. This is a worldwide phenomenon. Religions have raped, murdered, tortured animals and humans, yet people go back to it like it's mama or something. And I want people to become aware about this and start questioning this and questioning their own motives for going back to those religions. Is it maybe the power of suggestion? Maybe if enough people around you do this one thing, believe that a car is blue when the car is red, or they've done studies on this in psychology that are very revealing. They showed that a test person will judge something, judge the lengths of an item according to how the other people judge it, not according to the truth. So they will go away from the truth just so they will fit in with the rest of the group that were all lab workers, just pretending to be test people. So that's very interesting right there. And we see it in politics, we see it in society happening all the time. If most people dress this way, then the rest will dress the same way as well, because they don't want to be looking different. They don't want to be regarded as weird or awkward. And then, whatever is seen as awkward is totally chic in 100 years, and or vice versa, or whatever. And this has always really bothered me very much, when people during the 80s would say, I can't wear bell-bottom pants. That's 70s. There's no way I can't do that. And then 10 years later, the same people wear bell-bottom pants because suddenly it is fashionable. I don't know. I don't know why this bothers me so much. It's not just because of the fashion or anything. I see it with everything. I see it with the way people express themselves. I see it in political opinions. I see it everywhere around me, that people will do what others do. This has got to stop. You've got to stop that. Stop, sit down and think and introspect. Go into your own mind. Investigate your own mind. And ask yourselves some really hefty questions. Why am I doing this? Why am I going back to that religion? Why am I dressing this way? Why am I going back to that asshole guy that beat me up or whatever? I have been beaten once by an Iranian guy in LA, and that only needs to happen one time and I am totally out. It's like bye-bye forever. You hit me and you are out of my life. But I see an enormous amount of women who will tolerate that and go back to them. And then we have sadomaso in the world. This is sadomaso in terms of physicality and mentally. I've seen these people on the internet. I've even talked to them, and it was shocking to me that whatever I said did not reach them at all. There was one guy who was dressing in women clothing. That guy wasn't even a transvestite. That guy was doing it for other reasons. He was doing it to humiliate himself. And he had some kind of movement or group for this. And he came to me, I don't know where he saw me, but suddenly he came to me and in private message, and he said, "Would you like to be my girlfriend and humiliate me?" It's like, oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say to that. So I said, this is a mental illness, and you can heal that. And it has to do with your childhood. You know, you've been humiliated. That was the only attention you got. And now you're acting it out in your adult life. And you think this is all perfect and great and should be tolerated by society and so on. And what a horrible way of living. And some people take it a notch further into physical hurt and all of this in the sadomaso society. And then they go, oh yeah, this is our choice. You know, we want to put holes into our skull and whatever do. We want to do this. We should have the freedom to do it. And so where do we draw the line with those kind of things? Those are all ethical questions that I ask and that I think about every single day. And when I go to sleep, I can sense tremendous amount of energy is coming towards me and wanting something, wanting me to fulfill their voids with something. Nothing can ever fulfill your void. That void that you have in you, you know, that you are trying to fill with wealth, with accumulation of money and material possessions, or with doctorate degrees, or with respect and books, and with society, and or girlfriends, or sex, massive amount of sex. That's all most people talk about. And none of this will fill the void. The void from the childhood pain. None of that will do it. And all these people running amok, running and running and running fast away from that what's really going on inside. That they have been hurt, that the mother was not there for them, did not feel them, did not feel the compassion for them that they needed. You know, to feel totally safe by the mother. 100% safe. Jiddu Krishnamurti talks about it. He said you can't even learn anything if you don't feel safe. And then it becomes convoluted later in life, you know. The ego senses a threat where there isn't any. It protects itself and convolutes itself further and further and further with further walls of silly self-protection mechanisms, or being the tough guy mechanism, the tough guy armor, or trying to act out like that guy, trying to be humiliated because that's the only affection, in quotation mark, the only attention he's ever received. So he thinks that's how it should be. Women go to the abusive guy because they have been beaten by their parents. So they think that's the only attention, that's the only real thing. You know. So if someone is nice to them, it doesn't feel real. So they go back to the asshole. I want people to start thinking about all of these things. This is absolutely important that you dive into it and not shy away and run and run and run and run and run and run fast away from these things and further into act outs of all kinds of sorts. Most act outs are they're anything from very unbeneficial for you all the way to violent, causing suffering for others, and even all the way to creating wars, creating mass suffering and mass pollution and all of this. All because of that childhood hurt that people are running away from. And we need to look at it, and we need to see, really see, that first of all, don't have children. Don't put more children into this world. Don't cause more suffering. Don't continue that life cycle of destruction and suffering. It's idiotic. It makes no sense whatsoever. There's no meaning in that at all, in that type of suffering. We need to dissolve suffering. Every one of you, has to help to dissolve suffering in this tormenting world that we live in. You are all responsible to help end the suffering. And you need to look at it. You cannot be running away from it anymore. You need to look at it. Sit with it and allow it. Don't run away from it. Don't act it out. Don't dissipate the energy of that pain that might come up, but sit with it and feel it, and go through it. I've had the most idiotic responses from people in Germany and here in the United States. In Germany, people are they're even more buried within their brains. They have a real hardened armor around themselves. The people here, most people here I talk to, they react, they act out. It's like it's an armor of quick reactions, quick violent outbursts that come suddenly. They're totally unpredictable sometimes. Like a wild cat that suddenly scratches and bites. And that's what I see here in the United States. And I see that in men more than in women, because men have it like thousands of times rougher, even because of the way they have been educated, taught. Educated, so anti-educated is a better word. The way they have been drilled, the way they have learned it psychologically. Yeah, there's a consequence for being yourself, so you can't be yourself. You have to shut that down. For men, it's extra hard. Women too, but not near as bad, because society consisting of all these individual men that have been hurt, they expect from men to be hardened and tough. Grit your teeth and walk through, is what my dad said. So he projects that on me, but sorry, it doesn't work for me. Because I'm a woman, girl in the past, and I always cried. I was, and and also because I'm an artist and I'm very stubborn. I don't, I, I don't go along with society's rules or with what anyone says at any time in my life. When I was a little girl, I did everything differently to everyone. I cut the heads open of my dolls because I wanted to know what's inside. So, yeah. And that interest is still there. So, I want to know what's inside our brains. And so I studied psychology, and now we're able to do fMRIs that are those are functioning magnetic resonance imaging techniques, computerized techniques where you can actually do brain scans. You can scan the entire brain in its entire topology, and you can see everything in it without cutting it open, and you can even make people do something, an action, while they are scanning the brain. And then you see what that certain action is causing in the brain, which regions are more active while they're doing it, and so on. And interesting things are coming out because of this amazing technology. So that is very, very fascinating to me and very revealing, and particularly the work by Dr. Adrian Raine fascinates me. And I still have some strawberry shake in there, and I'm gonna go back on YouTube and I'm gonna listen to a couple of more presentations on this by Dr. Adrian Raine and other neuroscientists, because that interests me very much. And I really want to talk to people about this. I want to talk to people about psychology, metaphysics, philosophy, art, all of these things that are going deep. Yeah. Please talk to me about it. And you don't have to, are you afraid to show your face? Are you afraid to be associated with me? Yes, that could be the case too, yeah. I had boyfriends in the past that would walk like 30 feet ahead of me or behind me, because whenever we went into public, they just could not stand to be seen by other people together with me, walking next to me. That happened in Germany, that happened here in the United States. It's happened with all ethnic people, with all skin colors. And when I see that happening, I withdraw from the person, which is also the healthy thing to do. If he can't be seen with me, why should I bother? Then I'm better by myself, walking down the shopping mall by myself and have a good time and go shopping and buy my essential oils and clothes. Yeah, it's nice. That way, no one has to pretend they don't belong to me or something. And this is a pity, because that limits us a great deal. So what happens if you are seen talking to me? what's going to happen then? You're not going to be respected. You might lose your customers. So, but I can't change you. I can't force you to do anything. This is just food for thought, for your own investigating into yourselves. Practice things at home. Sit down and investigate and ask yourself very important questions. Why am I going back to that guy? Why am I going back to the religion? Why can I not be seen with that woman or that man or that person, whatever? Why can I not be friends with this person or that person? Why can I, all kinds of different questions. Why can't you go vegan? What is it psychologically, that stops you from doing it? What kind of fear comes up? And just sit with that fear. And sometimes take a little leap forward and do something that takes you out of that comfort zone, of that retreating back to mama kind of thing. Yeah. And see what kind of feelings come up. And just do a little bit at the time. Come out of that shell house, that ExxonMobil house. Come out of that and meet someone else and talk and look and observe and really listen to the other on the street, to someone you would normally shy away from. Talk to a homeless person, talk to a fat person, talk to a clown like myself. We cry, we clowns. We are very deep. And we have a message for the world. And the message is true love is love for all living beings equally much. Okay? So you guys take care. Bye-bye.